So this is interesting here too, actually, by the way. This was it's titled 1950s Parents Reveal Their Feelings About 1960s Baby Boomer Children. Watch what they say, because I know I got baby boomers watching me. There's a ton of baby boomers that watch me, and I catch heat. They even email me. It's so cute. The boomers, they know how to use email now. So they email me en masse talking about these youngins don't know what they're talking about. You guys are lazy. Back in my day, I had my daddy do everything for me. I'm messing with you guys.
The parents of the 1950s were, I think, the most unusual generation of the 20th century. These are the people who had grown up in the Depression. They had experienced real tough times when they were children and when they were teenagers. And then World War II hit, as many of them were just reaching adulthood. And they had
$5.
Thanks, Cyber.
Had the trauma of the war. And then after all that, they reached the 1950s at a time when the U.S. was tremendously prosperous, when the economy was booming as we've never seen it before. And I think they reacted to that prosperity, and I think they reacted strongly to all of the trauma of the Depression and the war by turning inward a bit, by marrying young, by emphasizing home and family.
It was a perfect setting in which the youth culture, in a certain sense, could blossom. Life in the suburbs was organized around the kids again. They were the center of attention, endless round of Little League games and PTA meetings, etc. So it was in the suburbs, in a certain sense, that this message about the importance and the uniqueness and the generational potency associated with these kids, I think, was delivered with real force.
In the average American family today, children are the object of more concentrated thought and concern than the young of any previous generation. For out of an increasing understanding of child psychology has come an awareness that children are real people.
So basically, the silent generation, or not the silent generation, but the greatest generation to ever lived, as they like to call themselves, did they helicopter parent boomers? Is that why boomers turned out the way they did?
Individual personalities which must be respected and encouraged.
This was a distinctly new way to be raised in the world. And it allowed for a whole generation that I suppose we would now call spoiled kids, which from another point of view simply meant kids who had very high expectations in life with respect to freedom and happiness. They thought life was about being free and about being happy. And they carried those expectations forward into high school and into college and brought with them a kind of a level of expectation that was simply unprecedented in, I would say, in world history.
We found out in the 50s that if you got up in the morning and went to work and did a good day's work, that things got better. You got promoted or you got more money. You were able to buy furniture. You could have more children. The children could have better clothes, and life just improved. We knew it was because you went to work, but I'm not sure our children realized that. They saw simply that the clothes got better, the house got bigger, the neighborhood got nicer. And I have a strong suspicion that what happened in the late 60s was that the kids who rebelled took it for granted that life would improve automatically.
Now here's a major seed of the
selfish and spoiled. Hey, do you hear that? That's the greatest generation talking.
60s. Because of their profoundly different life experiences, kids had trouble understanding why their fathers worked so hard. The way many of them saw it, their fathers were engaging in the single-minded pursuit of material comforts.
My dad was always above board in all his business dealings, but I would say money and getting ahead and making a lot of bucks was his goal. And I think what it was Dad meant well. Dad wanted to love us, but Dad was so busy at work. He would work till 2, 3 in the morning doing artwork for the business. He'd get up early and be gone. I hardly ever saw him.
Everything young boys saw at home and on TV told them that if they did as they were supposed to, they would be, quote, lucky enough to follow in their father's footsteps.
The Cub Scout program helps the boys' adjustment both to the family and to the group.
This son of yours has been fighting again. Look at this shirt.
Can I tell you about it, Pop?
Look, he's proud of it.
Please, Pop.
Not now, Jerry. I'm tired. I had a bad day.
Mike Kelly said you didn't have the guts to stand up for yourself, so I took a poke at him.
It was all right, wasn't it? Mike.
What TV showed you was a world in which men were essentially impotent.
He didn't have any right to say that about you, did he, Pop?
Go to your room and get a decent shirt. This minute.
Did he, Pop?
There were no chance for risk. There was no place for excitement. There was no place...
Yeah, this dude doesn't even look real, bro. It's like some AI-generated looking dude. Jeez Louise. That shit is. What the fuck? Holy shit.
For no challenges being offered whatsoever. And the other kind of show you could watch were the Westerns, which showed what a real man could do,
Bugman maxing.
measuring himself against other men, especially with a gun. And I think that anybody who was a red-blooded American boy in the 1950s knew that they wanted to be more like Matt Dillon or more like the paid gunfighter in Have Gun Will Travel than they wanted to be Beaver Cleaver's father.
Isn't it wonderful how this washer does all these heavy things?
And what did girls feel was in store for them? A life just like their mothers.
Judy, it isn't as sad as all that, dear. Sorry, Mother. I was just thinking. About what? Well, you know, thinking how awful wash day used to be for you before you had the electric water heater and the washer.
So now I add the pectin.
Educational films like this one reflect society's belief that women could find fulfillment only as housewives and mothers.
Now I let it come to a full rolling boil again.
Jeez.
The appliance mechanic sent $9.99. Watch The Cancery of the Self and you can see how much Sigmund Freud and his nephew Bernie's affected us. One of the Freud families I think was an owner of Netflix.
Wow. Canterbury of the Self? Or Canterbury of the Self? Okay. I'll take a look. Appreciate it, brother.
It won't
The
take
women
long.
the boomers got automation in the household. Life changing quickly. Don't need to do anything manually by hand anymore, huh?
You like to cook, don't you, Pet?
Century of the Self, yeah.
Oh, it's not just liking to cook. It's more. Well, it's accomplishing something. It's me cooking. Me, Susan Douglas. And not just cooking, but, well, creating something special. Oh, I wish Miss Holland could talk to you. She could say it so much better than I can. Who's Miss Holland? She's my home economics teacher.
Not enough of anyone means soup instead of jelly.
Even girls
Home
were
econ.
sent to college.
Damn, dude, they had home econ. I completely forgot that was a thing. Men had shop class and women had home econ to learn to be good wives. Boy, oh boy, have we fallen off a cliff.
Often majored in
Someone said they're going to strike the channel for showing this.
what were called the domestic sciences.
Well, there's one nice thing about it's happening in class. Here it's part of our learning. At home, it would be a minor tragedy.
Wow.
There was a song when I went to college at Smith College, which they don't sing anymore, I know, that had a verse that went something like this. You're sharp as a pinpoint, your grades are really 10-point. You are Dean's List Sophia Smith. But when a man wants a kiss kid, he doesn't want a quiz kid. Oh, you can't get a man with your brains. With your brains.
Wow.
With your brains. Oh, you can't get a man with your brains.
Bruh. Perfect.
Come on, man.
Perfect.
They knew. Wow.
And it had verses that went on and on. Now, I sang that in 1957 with a sense of how true it was and how funny it was. Now, of course, it makes a shiver run up and down my spine.
Oh, it does?
I had 4 choices of things that I could be when I grew up. I could be a teacher, a nurse, a stewardess, or a secretary. I couldn't go into things that dealt with medicine. I couldn't go into law. I couldn't go into the real professions. It was extremely limiting. And of course, the overall goal was to find a husband, get married, have children, and live with a white picket fence. I used to make little stews for my child.
I wonder what they would think if they could see what the future looked like of this lifestyle that they were pushing towards. Like if we could just plug them in with some meta glasses and be like, listen, your behavior, the sexual revolution, everything you're fighting for, everything you're rejecting from the greatest generation, watch, behold. And then you show people with like bull rings, dressing like professional fucking hookers, but they're normal chicks, yelling like men, chicks with no breasts, they're cut off, rainbows everywhere, just like degenerate, like SSRI eyes, thousand cock stares, cats galore, very little women having kids, very little women even having a man. No one's getting married anymore. If the women got to see what their behaviors would bring down the line, I think all these women in this old school video would completely reject this direction completely. They would be horrified. Absolutely. If the men got to see what the future was like for their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, I think it'd be easy to say that they wouldn't allow any of this shit to go any further than what it would have right here in this moment. Talking about, you'd be memorizing that shit in the first grade. Don't need a brain to get a man. Because using your brain with the onset of feminism and the sexual revolution led to you only being able to get a cat. No man. Jeez Louise, bro. Welcome to the world. So now you work for the man at a corporation that doesn't care about you to get yelled at by a man. So then the IRS, which is more men, take more money out of your pocket for your hard work, right? So you could go home to barely afford feeding your cat because you got no man that you don't need. And then now men are inventing AI, which means you are going to go back to no job again. Okay. And around we go, dude, back to the starting line.
And used to spit them out and stick them on the wall. But I went on doing it. I don't know why. Dr. Spock. I think Dr. Spock ruined everything. I really do. I mean, he's wonderful in the peace movement. But there's this whole image of giving your children everything you had, and they have to be satisfied, and they have to be content, and I think we gave them much too much.
And here it is, the American family of the 1950s, as it was seen thousands of evenings on TV. Happy kids, happy father, happy mother. Everyone behaving as they were supposed to.
They're like robots.
You know, it's none of my business, but don't you think taking riding lessons is a pretty expensive way to meet a girl?
The message was absolutely unmistakable. This was the way your life should be. And if it wasn't, something must be very...
Wow. Because in the 1950s, people in their 20s dated, and people in their 50s worried about debt. Today, people in their 50s date, and people in their 20s worry about debt. Oh my God, that's such a bar. That is such a bar right there. 1950s, grumbling old people, optimistic young people. 2019, grumbling old people, depressed young people. Back then, hard work was rewarded. Now you can work all day, every day, and you may be lucky to be able to pay rent in your crappy rat hole apartment. But what do I know? I'm just a lazy millennial. I'll just go choke on my avocado toast. That's so good. Can you imagine what it would be like to have a job in a retail store or a restaurant and being able to support a wife and kids on it? I couldn't even support myself when I was doing that. Jeez, man. Back then, wages and cost of living were proportional. Now it's all out of whack. Imagine not being aware that children are real people with individual personalities. What the hell? Children are real people. OMG. My boomer father bought his first house under $30,000 and his wage at the time was almost $20 an hour. Today, that same job pays $25 an hour and a similar home is $300K. You do the fucking math. The power that be wanted you to point your finger at everything but the money changers. And so it's that 50s adults knew that things would get better if you worked. 60s boomers knew that things just got better regardless of work. Millennials know that no matter how much you work, things will never get better. Yeah. And Gen Z is like, what's the point of working, period? This shit sucks. And Gen Alpha's like, you guys got jobs? What's a job? By the time I graduate college, there were no things such as jobs left. AI took everything. We're in a dystopia. Oh, fuck, dude. The world is changing way too fast. We can't keep up. What are those jobs you guys are talking about? Yeah, Gen Alpha's going to be like, UBI? Like, we get government paychecks, bro, because there's no jobs. That's a relic of the past. You guys went to a place for 9 to 5? You got to do a thing called clocking out for like an hour to eat? What does that even mean? I get my stimmy check from the government, my little slop check so I could eat my daily allowance of bugs, living in my little 5-minute city in my 20 fucking square foot shoebox. Life is great, dude. Jeez, man. I remember the 80s. One of my friends was legally disowned by his parents because he was into a punk/metal scene. Unreal. Yeah, you ready for the bug sandwiches? Are you? Unbelievable.